Hello friends, my name's TheRealEmile and welcome back to some more Forza Top Gear laps. Today we are doing some random C-Class cars. Now these are cars from C-Class and I picked them. I was basically looking through and I picked a couple of cars which seemed interesting, cars that I wanted to throw around the track, and picked them and threw them into a video. Now, as this usually goes, each car gets 6 laps to go around our track, and the quickest lap out of all of them is chosen and put onto our lap board. We haven't had many C-Class cars around, so that's kind of why I wanted to do this episode, to populate the bottom of the board. Anyway, we start off today with a BMW M1. This was... many people refer to it as the first everyday supercar. Basically, this car was easy to use for pottering to shops and stuff, while still being a fairly respectable supercar. Also, fun fact, the engine out of this was then later put into a BMW M5. Anyway, and that created the M5. But yeah, anyway, this car drives pretty damn well. Brakes, they can be a little bit problematic, but they're not, like, sort of much worse than anything else here. Handling's pretty good, speed's pretty good on this as well, 277 horsepower, I forgot to read the statistics at the start. The thing with this car is, though, it has a strange oversteer twitch. What I mean by that is you'll be turning into a corner, okay, and you feel like you've got loads of grip, and then all of a sudden the rear end will just snap out for whatever reason. And it seems to happen pretty consistently. Like, this isn't a random car to drive, because you kind of know that rear end snap's going to happen. After a couple of laps, I kind of managed to figure out how to prevent it. It was sort of unturn the wheel every now and again when you're in a corner, which can be a little bit scary. But the M1 was pretty okay, actually. I didn't mind that car. Next up, we have a Mazda RX7. This has 261 horsepower and weighs 2,831 pounds. Now, the first thing I want to say about the RX7 is I still can't believe this car is from 1991. The version in-game is the 91 RX7. I believe this is the standard model, not a Spirit R, although turn 10, Forza 6, Spirit R, please, or at least the body kit for it. But yeah, this car blows me away, because I look at this car and still think it looks pretty modern and whatnot, even though it's from, like, 24 years ago. Anyway, the RX7... this surprised me. I was actually expecting this car to be quite drifty. You know, it's sort of one of those JDM drifter cars. And yeah, that's what I thought it would be like. However, this car is great. I mean, it's pretty damn good as far as sports cars go. Probably the best handling thing here today. I think that would be a good assessment. However, it's also, I believe this is actually the lowest PI of every car, which is here today, and I guess where that PI is sort of lost would be in the straight line speed. This car isn't the quickest. It's only got 260 horsepower, which makes it the lowest powered car here today as well. Get a bit of a slide on through there, but I don't think that affects the time too much, and the RX-7 is across the line. Next up, here's a bit of an interesting choice for you. This is a Holden HSV GTS, or a Vauxhall VXR8, I believe we'd call it in England. Anyway, this car has 437 horsepower and weighs 4,068 pounds. Now, you'd expect this car to be all over the place. You'd expect it to be sliding just everywhere. But no, the HSV was pretty good. I've driven supercars which handle worse than this car. Yeah, it was good. Straight line speed is pretty good. It's got enough power to sort of get it down there. The biggest problem with this car is the weight. As you saw, this thing weighs 4,000 pounds, which I believe it weighs about the same as the Camaro ZL1 you saw go around on Tuesday. And you can feel that. Now, traditionally around this track, heavy cars don't do particularly well. I mean, you look at our leaderboard and stuff like the Aston Martin DBS is pretty low down. And, I'm just trying to think of some other ones. I can't think of any at the moment. Heavy cars haven't tended to fare well, so it'll be interesting to see how this fared in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, I think that was also some form of laggy replay or something. But yeah. HSV, pretty good car to drive actually, I liked it. Next up we have technically the fastest C-Class car in the game. This is a Chevrolet Corvette, I must say Camaro, ZR1. This has 405 horsepower and weighs 3,505 pounds. Now, there's a funny saying that this car comes from when the Corvette wasn't taught how to turn around corners. And, well, I really like the way this thing drives. I don't know, maybe I'm a Corvette man. Maybe that's just my issue. Because I thought this car drove pretty damn well. I actually really liked driving it around here. Brakes were okay. Handling was pretty good. It would stick. Yeah, it was a good car. My biggest complaint about this one was suspension. Now, of course, this is a 90s American car, which means the suspension is probably made out of something which is pretty similar to what you'd find in a Ford F-150. Yeah, it's very wallowy, this car. It's very wobbly, which is very, very odd. But with upgraded suspension, this thing could be pretty damn good. Unfortunately, that would tip it over into B-Class, but as it is, this is a good car. It's quick. It handles pretty well. Yeah, I enjoyed driving the Corvette. Maybe I am a Corvette man. Next up, we have a Subaru Impreza WRX STI. This is the 2005 Hawkeye model. This has 311 horsepower and 3,316 pounds of weight. Now, of course, I couldn't do a C-Class episode without including a Subaru Impreza. For the longest time, our board has been just populated at the lower end with Evos, so I figured I'd send out the mighty Impreza to silence some of them. This car was pretty nice. It does have some understeer. It's a four-wheel drive car, as you'd expect. But the thing with this car that really buggered me was how it launches off the line is a little bit odd. I don't know if it's the turbos or something, but whenever I was launching it from the start line, it would sort of like jump, like it had stalled and then get going. And to be fair, you know, I think that might have affected its time a little bit round here. Just that odd jump. But don't get me wrong, anywhere else through the track, it was pretty good. Like I said, you've got to watch out for that understeer. Straight line speed's pretty good, 311 horsepower. Is a bit on the lower end of what's around here, but as far as today goes... Ooh, actually, that's at the lower end of what we're using today. But yeah, I enjoyed the Subaru. I certainly enjoyed having four-wheel drive grip, which was good because I hadn't had that in any of the previous cars. Anyway, next up we have a Maserati Gran Turismo. This has 432 horsepower and weighs 4,147 pounds. Now, this might surprise you to actually learn this car is in C-Class, and I believe this is actually might be a lower PI than that Subaru. Actually, no, I think it's higher by like 6. But yeah, I was actually really surprised when I found out the Gran Turismo was a C-Class car, so that's why it had to go around. Now, I think I've figured out the reason why it's a C-Class car after driving this around, and that's because this is the heaviest car we have here today. Bear in mind, this day had a 4-door muscle car go round. Yeah, the Gran Turismo is very heavy, and you can really feel that when you drive this car. It's not very... I mean, it's okay. It's alright. I mean, the rear end will come out on this thing. You can't take too much speed through the corners because the weight will just bite you. Straight line speed, once it got up to speed, could be pretty good. The unfortunate thing about sort of cars like the Quattroporte and even the Aston Martin DBS is around a track like this, those cars basically make up their time through straight line speed, and this track only has a couple of places where straight line speed actually really matters. Anyway, our final car of today is a Nissan 370Z. This has 332 horsepower and weighs 3,267 pounds. I always describe this car as sort of the average car, because that's what it is. It's very average. Average power, average weight, and it drives, well, averagely. It's pretty good. Can be a little bit slidey, but once you sort of rein in the oversteer, this car's good, yeah. The unfortunate part about this car really is it's a little bit ugly. I used a Nismo body kit for this car. When I don't have that on it, it looks very weird. And the other thing is, you could say it's a little bit boring. I mean, in Horizon 2 especially, this car is pretty dull. Just because it's so unbelievably average. Also, here's another question for you. 370Z, this car has been out for absolutely ages. I mean, the Fairlady 350Z was 2003. I swear this car came out in like 2008. When is Nissan actually finally going to put the 350Z to rest? Because I don't think they've even bothered updating anything about this car in that time. But anyway, ignoring that, we've got to get onto the leaderboard times. And the Corvette ZR1 got a 122.928. Yeah, it's quicker than an Aston Martin DBS. To be fair, the DBS was one of the first cars to go around, and so was the RS4, but still, it's quicker than a TTRS. Yeah. Anyway, 370Z is in 38th with a 124.298. Maserati Gran Turismo 124.430. Holden SV GTS 124.712. Those cars are sort of in their own little group. I think the 370 is the highest PI out of that little group. That's 496. Gran Turismo is about a 476, and the Holden is about 460, I think. Yeah, we haven't had anything that do a 124 before around here, so there you go. At least we've finally got cars that will do a 124. At the lower end of the board, we find the Subaru Impreza with a 125.111, beating out Mitsubishi Evos, which is great. We have BMW M1 with a 125.610, which for an 80s car isn't bad. I mean, it's beaten Shelby, Mitsubishi Evo 6, BMW Z8. Pretty good. And finally, the Mazda RX7 is down in 49th with a 126.581. Yeah, that car isn't quick, but it was the nicest handling car in that group. I do recommend the RX7. I think it's pretty cheap as well. So definitely give the RX-7 a shot. Not the fastest car, but with some tuning, I'm sure you could make it the fastest car. Anyway, friends, I want to thank you all very much for watching. Next week, I think we're going to be doing British cars. I'm also going to be doing a follow-up episode, part 2, if you will, to this as well, so keep your eye out for that. Anyway, I want to thank you all very much for watching. My name's been TheRealEmile. Until next time, farewell.